Among other things, the Drill and Thunder update gave us a seat that points to wherever your mouse moves. And it's all fine and dandy if you want to add something to the seat, because you can attach parts directly to it. Now, but what if you don't want something massive that might potentially block your view, like this bar on the left? Well, there are actually a couple of ways to power other things with this seat. One is purely mechanical. One is, let's call it digital. So to start with, here we have a simple linkage that copies the rotational motion to, the duck. So as you can see, as the seat rotates left and right, the duck looks in the same direction. Similar for the up and down motion here. As you can see, when the seat is tilted forward, so is the duck. When the seat is tilted back, the duck tilts back as well. This works pretty well up to maybe 45, maybe even 60 degrees. After that, it gets kind of in a bind because, well, at 90 degrees you have zero up and down motion. Still, for most drilling vehicles or harvesters or anything like that, this is plenty because you will be looking primarily forward. Additionally, this kind of linkage is good because even if you turn the seat up all the way to the fastest, the linkage will always copy the movement at the same speed. The downside with the purely mechanical linkages is that sometimes you have to get really creative with how you link stuff up. Observe this simple mechanism. We got a black bar that will rock side to side, and it will operate to other linkages in the purple. Now, I cannot just connect the black bar to a little T-piece in the middle of this blue one and expect it to work, because the angles change, and more importantly, the distance will change between this bearing and the bar. Observe. See how this yellow connector goes out of horizontal? And the more further out it swings, the less horizontal it becomes. This is actually a very similar mechanism to how steering in some cars works. Here is a very similar linkage mechanism. As a matter of fact, you can see the yellow connector bar right there that operates a couple of lights that are at some distance from the seat. So, wherever the seat turns, the lights follow. And if we go into first person, outside, well, you can see that up to a certain angle, about 45 degrees, you get perfect light, but it does not track up and down. That is because getting two axes of motion on the same machine, especially in scrap mechanic, is really, really complicated. And the best solution I could come up with is this. Now let me get it sort of straightened out. And you can see the seat is linked with two parallel bars to the bottom yoke. The yoke not only is anchored in the middle here so it doesn't flop around, but it also takes the up and down motion, translates it to the back through the white linkage, and translates the rotational motion down below through the black linkage to an identical yoke, well, minus the extensions here, on the back. That yoke translates its motions, both rotational and up and down, up high to a set of lights. Despite the complexity, it actually works pretty well, again to about 45-degree angle. So if we go outside and toggle the lights, you can see that wherever I'm looking, the lights follow. If we upgrade the seat all the way and crank it up to 10, Well, because it is purely mechanical, the lights will still move around at the same speed as the seat. The digital solution looks something like this. You get the seat that has sort of a roof over it, and the roof, as you can see, is colored. Above that roof, there are a couple of sensors that each look at their respective color, one at green, one at yellow. The default blue color here does nothing. Now, those sensors are connected to a couple of NOR gates, and those NOR gates are connected to a couple of controllers. These controllers use double bearings on both the ends of the bar with the lights, as well as on the arm that holds the sensors themselves. What that does is, as the seat rotates, the sensors keep track of its rotation, and the controllers always try to keep the sensors in the middle. Coincidentally, since all the bearings are on the exact same settings, the lights on the end of the bar copy the motion of the sensor bar. This little machine was my test platform for both ideas, and it uses a purely mechanical linkage that controls the steering. Then the digital part of it was two sensors on the left there that controls the up and down motion of the drills on the top. So here I'm driving this little car only using the W key and the mouse for steering. Taking away all of the unnecessary parts, and you can see the same two sensors on a double bearing connected to two NOR gates, then into two identically set up controllers, into another double bearing setup. This one is for tilt instead of side to side. These sensors are just looking at a piece of metal, and they trigger when they don't see the metal anymore. That made the whole system a little more reliable, because if they were looking for something, then it would have been just a really narrow bar, and there would be a way more chance of that bar just swinging past the sensor and confusing the whole system. Hopefully this video gave you guys ideas of what you can do with this new seat and how you can use its motion to control something else. Now, unfortunately, I cannot upload these creations to the workshop since, for reasons better known to themselves, the developers took that feature out completely. But hopefully I have shown it to you well enough to where you can just recreate it. Just remember to start with something simple, especially if you do the linkage mechanism. Start with something simple. Figure out, let's say, left to right first, then do up and down if you decide you want to use both axes at the same time.